Welcome to the Grovecast, a municipal podcast hosted by the city of Cottage Grove. We're here to demystify city government, make it more accessible, while also showcasing the real human beings who work every day providing services to residents. I am your co-host, Phil Jentz, the city's communications manager.
And I'm Emily Schmitz, your community development director.
Well, Emily, gall dang it, we're here. Episode 3, I think.
Time flies, Phil.
Time flies?
Yes. We've had a lot of good times. People are listening.
They are. They're out there. They're listening. And hey, you know what? Thank you. If you're one of our listeners,
we're happy to have you.
We're so happy to have you.
Yeah.
You were meant to be here, whether you're in Germany or Cottage Grove. We're happy to have you.
Well, and what's fun is that means that other people care about local government.
I mean,
how cliche is that? But I mean, we talk about it, we live it, but it's fun that other people are interested and want to know, what do we do?
And that's what we're here to talk about.
Right? It's important stuff.
So episode 3, congratulations. A huge milestone. We have millions of listeners.
Right.
Not really, but you're out there. And
Don't
we're very
tell
happy.
anybody. Don't tell anybody, but our next guest is kind of sort of our boss, Phil.
That's true.
And if we hit it big in the podcast world.
And we've got to be on our best behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We might be moving on, but we'll break that to her later.
Should it come to that, it
right.
would be helpful to have superpowers, right? Which
Absolutely.
is what we've talked about before.
We have.
So we've talked ad nauseum about the ability to fly or be invisible or who knows what. But as we're recording this today, Emily, what's your superpower for today? What do you need? What are you wishing for?
Well, before I think I said invisible, and I received a little bit of feedback. I'm going to say that. They were like, my goodness, so you want to be invisible? And I was like, well, there are some instances where you kind of just want to be a fly on the wall.
You just want to snap your fingers and be gone.
Yeah, right. Or, just pretend like you're there. So I think I would maintain that, Phil. I don't know that I would change
You're sticking
that.
with it?
I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
I think it's a good power to have.
Okay. We also were joking about, like, if you had to sing always or dance always if you heard a song. I feel like I am a god-awful dancer. I cannot dance at all. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm going to pick a superpower, it might be the ability to dance. Well, I think would be kind of fun. Go to weddings, be a hit, right?
Phil, anybody can be a good dancer because it doesn't matter. Here's the thing, and we were talking about this earlier before we started. Our guest
this might just be the whole episode.
Is
actually
giggling. I know. Here's the thing. My family growing up, so we would hold barn dances. Cliche, right? That doesn't matter. But anyhow, I mean, I think people would literally hire us to go to wedding dances to get the party started. I'm not saying we're good.
You were the party starter.
I'm not saying.
But you had
good.
the energy. That's probably what mattered.
The energy is there.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what's important.
You're inspiring me.
Yeah, but I am so excited to hear our guest and what her superpower would be.
And without any further ado, we'll just get right into it.
Yeah.
Our guest today is none other than City Administrator Jennifer Levitt. Jennifer, welcome.
Well, thank you, guys. I'm excited to join you. A little nervous, though. I mean, having to follow the mayor. I mean, he is my boss, so I have to be careful.
And you're our boss, and I guess that's just how that goes, right?
That's right.
Yeah. But we find this to be a safe space, Jennifer, and we have a lot of good conversation. Don't hold back.
Thanks. I appreciate that, Emily.
And you've already learned about barn dances and being invisible, and who knows where we're going to go from here.
I know. I was like, I would really like to be able to teleport, to kind of find the outcome of that meeting, in advance, and then maybe do something differently to get a different outcome. So I was definitely thinking about teleporting.
So that's your superpower that you're picking?
That's mine for today.
Teleportation?
I think you needed a different superpower for different situations. But for today, teleporting is where I'm at.
That's fantastic. I mean, we're going to get into this, Jennifer, but I mean, all the things that you navigate, because my big question is, what is a city administrator? I mean, there could be people listening that are like, what does an administrator administrate? But I think that's why it's important, when you telecommute, you got to know what you're getting yourself into.
Oh, I know. Wouldn't it be nice to know exactly what they were thinking about with that budget ad request?
Right.
Uh-huh. So a city administrator has to know a lot. And so being able to teleport and see the future would be very helpful in my role. Because I deal with a lot of people, from public safety with police and fire and EMS to parks and public works and finance and obviously your department, Emily, community development.
Which is the best one. But
You're on record as saying that. And you're consistent, and I appreciate that. I respect it.
No, I know. I'll bring that up with the other director.
Good luck with that one.
So you oversee the entire city. You supervise multiple department heads, present company included. Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about working with different departments and any idiosyncrasies within those departments or anything at all that people might not know about?
Well, I think the hardest part is you have to know a little bit about everything. So you kind of have to be an expert and start to learn everything in every department, from learning about fire and how they fight fires, and EMS and how our ambulance runs and how we bill out ambulance bills, and public works. That's kind of in my wheelhouse because I started as the city engineer. So public works feels like that safe space for me. Like, because I can talk asphalt and concrete and pipes, and that gets me excited. And then, I talk to finance, and that's not as exciting, because she tells me no a lot. And so that makes it more difficult,
Her
right?
calculator is different than yours sometimes. But in the best way possible. Our finance director is fantastic, so but
she keeps us on the straight and narrow, makes us check everything. So that one's tough. But I do know a lot about our finances over the years, and so we do have a AAA bond rating, so that's pretty cool. And that's something we've really worked at as a city.
But what does that mean, Jennifer?
That means we can get a loan for money much cheaper and better. So that's the easiest way to describe it. So it's one of the highest ratings a bond agency can give a city, and that ultimately saves taxpayers money in the long run.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So when I log into my whatever credit reporting app that I've got, and it shows, red is terrible credit, green is excellent credit, AAA bond rating for a city is like a person's credit being really, really good.
Absolutely. It's like off the charts. And especially for a city our size, it's amazing.
Nice. Cool. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I love that. You said, having to be a little bit of everything kind of all the time. One day you have to be a little bit police chief. The next day you have to be a little bit finance director, right? That's got to be tough.
It definitely is, because you never know what you're going to encounter during the day. I mean, you can come in thinking that you're going to do one thing, and you turn into dealing with resident complaints or an issue that has arose in development, and so your day may go a completely different direction than what you had anticipated.
But that's what kind of makes it fun, isn't it?
Well, I think my fun part is solving problems. Yeah. So usually when those department heads are coming to me, there's a problem that has to be solved, and so we have to find a solution. And that's what I really, was educated to be, was an engineer, which is a problem solver. Just a fancy way to say problem solver.
Right. So you're like the black and white, but also the gray. Because, you also did a stint as the community development director, right? You were in my position, so you started to learn all things planning and zoning and that fun, fluffy stuff where we have this big, huge vision.
Oh, I know. The word is fluffy. Oh, community development. There's a lot of gray. I love the engineering world. It's so black and white. It's beautiful. There's always the right answer. In community development, you have to kind of search for that answer in the gray to make something work, because it's not always going to fit exactly or be perfect. And so, your job is tough, Emily.
Yeah, but it's fun.
You got to finesse it. There's a lot of negotiation.
Yeah. And it's trying to think of the community as a whole.
And so we've covered a little bit of this ground, but you're an engineer by trade. I actually didn't know that you did a stint as the community development director. So is there anything you can say about kind of your history with the city of Cottage Grove, or maybe how you got started with the city of Cottage Grove?
I always wanted to be a city engineer. This was like my dream job. You have to envision me back in high school. I was drafting at our small town with ink and Mylar. That's like the olden days AutoCAD.
Olden days. She makes it sound like she's...
I know. It's way back in the day. And I watched the city engineer and watched what he did, and I loved it. And I said to myself, someday I'm going to become a city engineer. So I will never forget the day I saw it post, and I applied for the job here in Cottage Grove as a city engineer, and I really had thought I hit my dream job. This is exactly what I wanted to do. So when I came to Cottage Grove, I was so excited to be the city engineer.
That's so cool. That's actually very cool to have that dream and vision, and then it happened.
It did. And then I enjoyed working with developers, and I liked economic development, and they said, hey, why don't you be a community development director and a city engineer? Just so you know, that title does not typically go together.
Back to the black and white fluffy part.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't usually mix. Yeah. And I was able to do both and really enjoyed it, and got to learn a whole new department from building officials and code enforcement and all that fun stuff. So it added to my resume.
Jennifer, tell me what it's like to your boss is the mayor and council. Right? How does that, you have an elected body who guides you, right?
That's correct.
And so as the administrator, you follow their guidance while also making sure that this entire organization follows. Tell the people the number one thing that you use to navigate that process.
I think the main thing is it's a relationship. I think what Cottage Grove it has with our city council is unique compared to other council or other cities because we're a team. I think the staff and the elected officials work very seamlessly together, right? The elected officials are setting the policy and the direction and the tone, and my job is to help staff implement that direction. And so we work very seamlessly together where not every city gets to have that pleasure. And so I have a very good relationship with council and enjoy, achieving the things that they desire. If they want to see Quick Trip, we're going to get a Quick Trip. If they want to see, a Chick-fil-A, we're going to work on that Chick-fil-A. Yeah. I mean, we're passionate, right? We're going to go after it as a team, and we're going to try to secure that for them. And that's kind of fulfilling the mission.
And you mentioned that being unique, which it does seem that way. I mean, it's hard to know what's going on in every elected body across the country, obviously. But, I've seen this council disagree with one another, but also very respectfully. Like they're not shouting, they're not name calling, they're not grandstanding, in a way that's unprofessional. And so it does seem like a team effort in the sense that we all have our opinions and the directions we're coming from, on a certain development or issue. But at the end of the day, we're not trying to put anyone down or anything like that or make it personal.
And I think the main thing is we're all fighting for what's best for the community.
Exactly.
And I always joke that, Cottage Grove's colors are green and blue, and I say we all bleed green and blue. And I think that's really true. You look at our staff from any department, they're committed to this community and they want what's best for it. And so when you have elected officials with that mindset and a staff of the same mindset, it's just going to help you achieve great things.
Nice.
And we have fun along the way, Jennifer.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah.
Including today, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is definitely
Was
the
this on your
highlight.
bucket list?
Oh, it
Recording
was
a podcast?
definitely on my bucket list.
It wasn't on mine, but then it was. Now I checked it
I asked
off.
Emily and you just went, nope.
I did. I tell people I got to get back to record a podcast. They look at me like, how did you get into that? I'm like, well, it's actually kind of fun. You guys should try.
My bucket list usually involves travel in different cities and countries I want to visit.
A very normal thing to have on a bucket list. So, Jennifer, are there any issues or projects that you've worked on that you're particularly fond of?
Well, I would say, one thing is we've been really fighting for and advocating for treated water in Cottage Grove since 2006. I mean, I remember the first confidential memo that I sent to the city council about this thing called, PFCs at the time. And so it's crazy to think that we are going to be starting the construction on our second permanent water treatment facility. We have 7 temporary water treatment facilities, and so we've really been advocating for that, and I think that's one of the things I'm most proud of that we've been able to achieve.
That is a massive, I mean, you said 2006. That is a long time to be working on something and a massive project. I mean, the treatment plants themselves are literally massive, but I can only imagine the amount of hours, probably untold, that have gone into those projects.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
pretty wild to think about, actually.
One of the things when the health-based values changed related to PFCs, we built 2 water treatment plants in 90 days. And we were recognized, and it was an award-winning project. But I don't think our residents realize how much we advocate and fight for them to get that clean water and to be consistent with it. And so really proud. So when you see those treatment plants, just know that a lot of staff time went in to get that.
Jennifer, I've been around a little while, but you've been around a lot longer. And correct me if I'm wrong, one of your biggest passions is economic development. How do we continue to help this community grow, right? We want folks to live, work, and play, right? That's what we're looking for. Over your career, and I can think of a couple, but I'm curious, what was your most favorite economic development project that you worked on, that you walked away and you said, I brought a lot of craziness together to make this happen? And when I say craziness, for the folks out there who don't know, we work with a lot of, across departments, across organizations, across private property owners, realtors, etc. What's one where you were just like, man, this really turned out awesome?
Well, the one that comes to mind is we bought Home Depot I mean, a city typically does not own a Home Depot building. I mean, it was vacant
Not
at the
usually.
time.
The old municipal Home Depot.
Phil, I'm going to put that on my resume. Sells 2x4s.
So we thought we were going to hold the building for a short time and then be able to sell it right away, but we ended up being the holder of a Home Depot for a while. But in the end, that is where, we have Hy-Vee and we have all that exciting development in that area. And so it was well worth it, but we were way outside the box in trying to make this deal happen. A lot of property acquisitions that took place to make it all come together. I think one of the things is I like to think outside the box. Like, I will find a solution. I will find a compromise. Like, I am committed to that. And you can't tell me no. We'll find a yes in there somewhere.
And it might not be a day, a week, or a month. It could be years.
It could
but
be
can
years
happen.
later.
Yeah. Good things take time, Phil.
They do. Yeah, I've heard that. Yep. And so true. Truer words never spoken. So, Jennifer, before we let you go, we talked about superpowers. We talked about a lot of really great stuff. But what about food? What's your favorite food?
Oh, first, any food that I didn't have to prepare.
Okay.
But second, seafood. I love seafood.
Oh, okay.
You name it. I mean, I had a layover in Boston a little while ago, and I could get, a lobster roll and clam chowder, and I thought the world was like in its perfect place in that moment.
The world just stopped.
It did.
And it was just all that mattered was this food here.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And here's Phil and I with macaroni and cheese and French fries. I feel like we need to step up our game, Phil. Maybe we should expand a little.
Maybe. I mean, here's the other thing. My comfort food, Indian food. A good curry with naan. That's my comfort food. So
Are you
if you're
going
having a
super,
bad
super
day-
spicy, or are you like...
Oh, no.
Okay.
Phil, I'm getting older. I get heartburn. I mean, we got to go tame on this, okay?
Cheese is into it.
But the spice level there can be like apocalyptically bad too. So like...
Yeah, so I'm
It's a good thing it's
I'm
a
a mellow
range
curry.
that you're on the mellower side. I'm with you there, I think. Yeah.
So seafood. But of all the seafood, Jennifer, which one would you choose?
Oh, probably lobster, I have to say.
Really?
I take lobster any way it comes. Mm-hmm.
I once had lobster in Jamaica, and it was warm water. Now,
There's a difference?
full disclosure though, I don't love lobster. But isn't there a difference? I mean, if it's better if it's cold water lobster?
I don't know that technical part. I just like how it's prepared. So, if it's...
Maybe it was
it's
how it
in
was prepared.
amazing butter just dripping there.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
I mean-
It's put on a bun. It's perfect.
Butter's going to make anything
good.
better.
Absolutely.
We're going to get all sorts of emails about cold water versus
I
warm
know,
water lobster.
which is
and-
good. Help me understand.
We'll learn.
Because I swore
We're
there
here to
was
learn.
something, but
Here, I thought you were going to ask me a bird question.
I should have.
you
A
should have
bird
asked-
question.
I should have. I often use
Favorite bird?
Jennifer for her birding skills.
Favorite bird? Least
Ooh.
favorite bird?
Ooh.
See, I love birding. I'd probably say the scarlet tanager.
I have no idea what that is, if I'm
Me
being
neither.
completely honest with you.
It probably has like a red wing.
Yep, it's red. Very good.
Excellent.
I helped Emily. She
The-
had a
Yeah.
northern flicker at her house. I was able to
flicker.
identify it for her.
Yes,
So
I've never.
you've now named two birds that don't follow this joke, but I joke with my wife that like what I love about bird names is that they're so often describing exactly how they look. Like, oh, that bird's got a red head and a blue wing. Oh, that's the red-headed blue-winged sparrow or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they often have it's exactly what it is right in the name.
Yeah, well, until you get between the male and female, and then it's all different. It throws you for a complete loop.
Absolutely. So Emily, see, I've taught
I'm-
her a little bit about
I'm
birding,
learning.
and
I love that.
she's getting there.
Yes.
We've learned a lot and we've covered a lot of ground. And with that, Jennifer, I think we'll let you get back to your day. Obviously, you're busy. We really appreciate you spending time with us today to tell us a little bit about what city administrators do and what it's like to be a city administrator. So thank you.
Well, thanks, Phil. Thanks, Emily.
Thanks, Jennifer, and I promise I will not rustle up everything with the directors. I made a lot of accusations over this last handful of episodes. I feel like I have to tell you, as my leader and my boss, I'm not going to ruffle all sorts of feathers.
That community development's the best
right?
department.
It'll be a
and
clean.
I see mediation in my future.
I know.
Here's the thing, though. They're all going to come on and they're going to be sitting across from you and they're going to
They
go, well,
are.
here's how public
Yeah.
works is better and et cetera, et cetera.
We'll talk it out as professionals, I
Yeah.
promise.
It'll be
I'm pretty sure Emily's going to be like, game on. Like, no, this is it.
but hey, now you got departments then who are competing to be the best. Like
That is
that's
true.
There could be worse things.
We like to be excellent.
Yeah. Well, Jennifer, thanks again.
Yes.
We do really appreciate it, and thank you all for listening. We joked a little bit at the front end. It's a new podcast that we're trying out, and we do really appreciate anyone who's tuned in. It's just fun to try new things and make city services more accessible to you, as well as community voices more accessible to you. So thank you for listening. And this has been the Grovecast, a City of Cottage Grove municipal podcast. You can catch episodes monthly, and to listen or download, find us at CottageGroveMN.gov/thegrovecast or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you to True Lens Community Media for producing the Grovecast, and stay tuned for our next episodes where we'll move on to other departments, city services, or other topics. Thanks for listening.